Alright, so in this video about how to actually trade, I want to go into something first to kind of set the tone and set the environment, and then you'll learn all the technical stuff. So first, as you saw before you got in this program, you would have likely seen how I go on and on and on about keeping things simple and controlling risk. And the reason being is because, just like you've seen me talk about all the time, simplicity along with a little bit of risk management, or I guess a lot of risk management, it just equals profitability. And the reason I say that is I speak from 4 years of personal experience seeing this stuff every single day. There's not one day that I can remember from the past 4 years that I have not been looking at the markets or thinking about trading or studying and this and that. Like literally, I have never taken one day off, even Christmas Day, in the past 4 years of being in the markets here. And so seeing all that every day for the past 4 years, what it really has boiled down to is simplicity and risk management. And so in this video, before you learn the technical stuff, I want to highlight this first because I don't want you to get lost and get confused and then get frustrated and get anxious and then get angry because you're not doing this stuff right here. Okay, so I want to tell you why simplicity is the only way to go in Forex trading and in a lot of other things in life. But in this video, of course, we'll just focus on Forex trading. So one of the first things is that it allows for low time involvement. So let's say that you're Forex trading and this is your day as represented by this 10-year-old drawing of a circle. And let's say that, this part represents your work, this part right here, so this is work, this part represents sleep, this part maybe represents like family, this stuff right here represents like personal hobbies, and then we have this little nugget of time right here, which is maybe like, an hour or two a day. And that should equal trading. So having a trading system that is very simple allows you to literally glance at the chart, maybe go to two different time frames and stuff like that. And when you look at that chart, you can within 1 minute or maybe 2 minutes or maybe even as low as 30 seconds, just a very short amount of time, you can look at the chart, decide what to do, and then that is your decision. And then you can go about the rest of your day without having to stare at the chart or second guess yourself or worry or this and that. You can literally go to a chart, draw a few lines. Once you got all your lines in place and all your levels in place, you can make a trading decision, say, if price comes here and does this, then I'll look to buy. And that's it. And then you'll just swipe out of it. And then you'll come back in the evening and look for like, a couple minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, update, all your trades with where everything's at, where the market's at, decide if you're going to take another trade. And if the trade isn't set up yet, then you go on about your day. And you're never going to be able to do this right here, trading with low time involvement, unless you're keeping things simple. Because here's what the goal for most people's trading is they want to make money, obviously. That's why we get into it. But why do you want to make more money? Think about it. What is the reason? If your reason for making money is so you can go out and buy more shit, then that's cool. But a lot of people, they trade and they want to trade profitably because it gives them more free time. And because money, yes, it can't buy happiness, but it can buy you a lot of free time, and it can definitely improve your odds of being happy if you're not worried about money. Because once you have plenty of money, and let's say you're doing it all from trading, then all this stuff like work right here, you don't have to work a job as much, especially you don't have to do something you hate. So then now you've got this free time cleared up. Your sleep, you should still be getting 8 hours of sleep, but let's just say like now, like instead of sleeping like, having to sleep like 8 hours a night, let's say, since you have more free time, you'd rather be awake more and you're not that exhausted mentally. So let's say, you don't have to sleep an extra 2 hours every day. So now you've got all this extra free time cleared up, or I guess it would be this little component right here. With your family time, if you like doing family time, then you can extend this shit all the way around, and now you have more family time. You can spend more time on your hobbies, doing yourself, and then trading, it just becomes this little nugget of a day that you do for work, and you can get the same amount of productivity looking at the charts 30 minutes a day as you can 3 hours or more per day. Let me say that again. You can have the same amount of productivity with the right system, keeping things simple, by just looking at the charts 30 minutes a day, roughly 15 minutes in the morning, 15 in the evening, then you can, as opposed to looking at the charts 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I know some people who stare at the charts all day, scalping and doing this shit where they're trying to catch 5, 10, 15 pips. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but what I am saying is that you're not going to have a life that consists of a lot of freedom if it involves you being there 8 to 10 hours a day, staring at the charts, waiting for trades to happen, checking like a million times a day, you're just not going to have a very free life. And so my whole point with this video is just telling you, like, keeping things simple allows you for super low time involvement. And with that low time involvement, it's going to prevent a variety of a ton of other things, such as like revenge trading, getting anxious on like what trades you should take, over trading. It's a thing, like, is where people sit at the charts and trade too much and end up making uninformed decisions, and decisions that are not the best trading decisions as a result of having been there staring at the charts for so long, waiting to pull the trigger on just anything under the sun. It involves you like not thinking logically at that point, because you're just literally trying to find any reason at all to like just pull the trigger and enter a trade, and it's just wild. But having low time involvement with trading, if you're keeping things simple, kind of prevents that. So my advice would be just trade as little as you can per day. Don't look at the charts a lot, because the best trading decisions you'll come to are the ones where you look at like something like this. You'll learn all about this in the next videos, but something where you look at like, hey, price is bouncing off that line right there, and price is also like, like bouncing off this zone in here. So, price had like broken above this area and it came back and bounced. It may seem logical that price is going to try to go up, and so you'll simply look to take a trade right there, have your target somewhere up here and have your stop below, and then that's it. That's the trade. It's going up and it keeps going up. And you know what? If you're right and it continues to go up, then you'll be right and you'll make money. And if you're wrong, it'll come down and you'll lose your preset amount of money based on whatever your risk was. How long did this analysis take? In between 30 seconds and 1 minute. That's it. And that's all you have to do. Anything else becomes just unnecessary and needlessly complex. So the first thing is that simplicity allows for low time involvement, and that's why you should keep things simple. Second thing is it allows for less emotions. So have you ever heard, I don't know if it's a saying or not, but it's where the more you think about something, the more anxious you get. Whereas there's things that may have happened in your life where they could have been really bad, but whenever they happen, let's say you think about it for like 10, 15 seconds and you say, well, you know what, that sucked, whatever, on to the next. And then you just focus on something else. And then even though it was the same bad thing, we'll just say it's like something happened, and then this thing gave you negative emotions, and then you thought about it for like a big amount of time, and it ended up making you sad at the end of the day. Whereas the same thing could have happened, and it could have given you negative emotions. However, you chose to not think about it as long, and therefore, your day, maybe it wasn't the best, maybe you were still pretty happy for the most part, but it was just, you're definitely not like smiling super big or anything like that. But the day wasn't really that bad because, it happened, the thing happened, you couldn't control that, you felt shitty, but you only spent a small amount of time in like thinking about it, maybe even just like a fraction of time, and you still ended up having an okay day, whereas it was the same thing right here. So this thing, thinking about it longer, spending more time involved with it, gives you more emotions. And also thinking about all the different varieties and ways that things could have turned out, trying to like change this thing that happened, which is just a very novice thing to do, is to like worry about like what could have happened differently and this and that, because it has no effect on the result. Like the result is still the same. That thing still happened and it still gave you those emotions, and all you're left with is this piece of the puzzle right here, which is like just managing your emotions and chilling out. Let me tell you, it is so much easier to manage emotions if you're keeping things simple. Because if you're keeping things simple and you do that first thing, which is, low time involvement, I'll just put LTI right here, simple low time involvement, you're going to have significantly less emotions. How should I do this? Like less emotions. That's supposed to be a less than sign, not a 7. But like the little less than sign. You're going to have significantly less emotions if you don't spend a lot of time tied up with it. You're not worried about it all day. You're not glancing at the chart over and over. And having less emotions allows you to be more flat and level-headed whenever you are looking to make trading decisions. Now, this is going to be a big deal whenever you're doing it full-time. Because if you're like me, where you make a living from Forex trading and you're doing it full-time, you have to protect capital and you have to grow in a consistent, sustainable, predictable way. You can't be to the point wherever you're getting all frustrated and upset and pissed off just because you lost a trade, or because you tried to chase a trade and you shouldn't have been jumping in a certain trade because it goes against, your little rules for how you trade and how you found that works, and then you go against what works to try to like make a quick buck back or try to maybe make back one of your losers. You run into all these emotions with complexity. Whereas if you practice and force yourself to keep things simple, and you don't spend a lot of time, you just look at what the charts, you look at what's clearly there, and what's clearly there is there, and what's not is not. And then, that's just that. It doesn't take that long to do. It's a very simple thing to do. That's going to result in significantly less emotions involved with trading, which is what you want. The more time you spend on the chart, every extra minute you spend on the chart will usually give you more emotions to have to deal with. More things saying like, this is my trade and this would have been good. I'm not saying this is a trade I'm taking, although it doesn't look bad right now, but you'll learn all this later. This is not the point. But me saying like, hey, I want to take this trade, it's good. You know what screws it up past the first 30 seconds to a minute is when people start doing this. They start saying, but wait, hold on. Let me go to the 1 hour. Okay, on the 1 hour, it could be going down. So maybe I need to be looking for sells. But wait, here in the minute 30, it's going upwards. So maybe I should just buy right now instead. Or maybe I should wait for it to, maybe I should take a sell and then bring it down here, and then I'll sell right here, and then I'll buy whenever it comes down here, so then my trade will look like that, and I'll put my stop loss right there, and my target like somewhere down here, or maybe at the previous lows. But wait, on the minute 15, it just broke the trend and rejected the trend. So let me just buy right here because it's retesting the trend, and then my target will be up there, and my stop will be below here. But on the 5-minute chart, on the 5-minute broke out of the uptrend, and then when you go out to the 4-hour and daily, you find yourself having worried about all of this shit, all of this pointless, needless stuff, down here on the lower time frames with all these different lines and shit. Whereas in the grand scheme of things on the daily and 4-hour chart, like the trade was pretty simple. Like all we're trading is just breaks and retests of levels within trends. And this should have been the only thing you're looking at. But the fact that you went lower and did more, you've now become less productive, and you've gotten a diminishing return on your investment, because oftentimes reading way too far into it and going into way lower time frames and doing all the shit that I just showed you right there, that'll cause you a lot more emotions and a lot more confusion, needless complexity, and it will result in you being less profitable. It's just the truth. So instead, what you should do is you should always vote to keep things simple as possible, because you'll have significantly less emotions involved. And once you've done your analysis on the daily and H4, which you'll learn all in the next videos, just leave it. There's no need to go anything below the H4, and you'll learn that in the how to draw support resistance level videos. But that's it. So that being said, that was that next part. You're going to have significantly less emotions involved with trading. So another thing is that keeping things simple, as cliche as it may sound, is that keeping things simple nearly eliminates confusion due to complexity. And this is just, I can explain it very simply. Like, if you have this to worry about, and this to worry about, and this to worry about, and then this, and then this, and then this, and this, and this, and this, and this, if you're over here where you're faced with the point of getting to the decision right here, and you are right here, we'll just draw this 10th grade, or this 10-year-old looking Y. This is you, and you got to go through all this shit to get the decision right here. Whereas, what if this was you right here, and then the point of getting to the decision was just like 1, 2, maybe 3 variables away. And once you address each one of these variables and take them all into account, then you get to the point of the decision, which is right here. And that's it. So what's going to be more confusing long term? If you got to do this every single day for the rest of your life, albeit, only like 15 minutes to half an hour a day. But let's just say, you're doing this every day, 5 days a week for the rest of your life. Which route do you want to go on? Do you want to take the long, hard route that makes things more complicated, that makes things less likely for you to succeed, the route that a lot of people have tried to go down and very few people have gotten to the end successfully? Or do you just want to go on the route that's easy, the route that's been duplicated and proven to work by a lot of people, the route that, the smart, intelligent people go through, the one that just seems to work over and over and over and over and over? Like, keeping things simple is this right here. It nearly eliminates confusion due to complexity. That's what I want to take it away. And so how are you going to actually apply this? Well, whenever you get on the charts, you're going to be faced with the possibility of very, very easily a million decisions. And your choice to actively choose to keep things simple and refuse to dive into things that are too complex is going to be one of the things that's going to make or break your profitability. And so, this being said, whenever I gave the example a second ago of how the novice trader will typically go into lower time frames and keep on checking a million different things, I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with going to lower time frames, but if you're wanting to learn how I trade, which is, assuming that's why you got this course, is because you want to see how I do it and you want to duplicate that and you want to do it for yourself. If you're taking my advice and you're wanting my advice, not legal or not financial advice, but just my general advice, person to person, I would say keep it simple and just do the daily and H4 charts, because that's all you need. And it will nearly eliminate confusion due to complexity, because you won't have a million variables to worry about. You'll just have just a few things right here every time you go through decision making. Maybe it'll be like, make sure the market's in a trend, make sure price is broken and retested a level, make sure the price action looks good at that level on the retest, and then boom, you're at your point of decision, in which point it is either yes, take the trade, or no, wait for the trade to set up possibly, and then maybe take a trade later. And then at that point, like you'll reanalyze, we'll come back to the charts later, make your decisions and go through all your variables, and you get to the point of another decision, which will be like the same thing. Like, well, has it done this? Has it done this? Has it done this? If you're doing this right here, if you're checking like, let's see where the Fibonacci's at, and let's see what's the horizontal price level, and then supply and demand area, and also with the trend, and has it broken a preceding trend as well, and also has price come to the Pythagorean theorem strategy and in the Bermuda Triangle, which was formed and then broken out of a bearish pennant wedge, and then come up here, and then Lamborghini with a cloned dinosaur sitting on the top on the chart, and then you get to the decision. You're gonna have a really hard time duplicating that over and over and over, and there's hardly a way to track that complexity. Whereas if you know for a fact, if you're keeping things simple and there's just 2 or 3 things you're looking at prior to each trade you take, it's very calming to just be able to look at a chart and know for a fact, like, hey, if I do this, this, and this every time, I'll have a 60 to 70% success rate, and I know for a fact I'll be profitable nearly every month throughout the year. And like I said, there's no guarantees. Like, I get that. There's no magic system that works 99% of the time, but what there is the probability that with a very, very, very high chance you'll be profitable almost every month out of the year if you simply have a clear system that you can easily duplicate with about a 60 to 70% win rate. Like, you're never gonna wipe out your account with that, and then you'll have consistent winners, you'll have steady losers as well, but your winners will always be more than your losers. And you're going to win more than you lose if you got a good system. So it just works itself out if you just do this over and over. Very comforting feeling knowing that you can easily get to the point of a decision every single day with just literally 10 to 15 minutes a time or 10 to 15 minutes of time involvement per time you look at the market, which is like once in the morning, once in the evening usually. So anyways, the point of this video, if we're just looking at the main thing, it's just the reason why keeping things simple, in my opinion, is the only way to go in Forex trading. And I do not understand people who have these super complex systems. And in fact, if you ask those people to show you their trading history on the same account for a couple months, there's not many. And like I said, there's a few exceptions to the rule who are very badass. I've met some really cool people who are really great traders who get like 1,000% ROI, like, monthly or weekly, just insane stuff. Of course, they're taking massive, stupid, insane risk to do that. There are a few exceptions to the rule, but let me tell you this. If you're in this program and you bought this program to learn Forex because you're not profitable, you are probably not the exception to the rule. And that's okay, because the good news is that you can still be profitable. All you got to do is just trade a simple, duplicatable system, which is what you're going to learn in this program. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the market structure videos. I will see you in that video.